Hello, we'd like to introduce you to the Year 6 team. First of all, we've got Oak Class with Mrs McIntosh, who is the phase leader of Upper Key Stage 2, with the teaching assistant of Mrs Dyson. In Birch Class, we've got Miss Hitchcox and Mrs Taphouse, and in Hornbeam Class, we've got Mr Ruck, Mrs Ramshaw and Mrs Hutchinson. Year 6 is a big year. It's the last year that our children are in Wroughton Junior School and the end of their journey with Wroughton Primary Federation. It's a year where we really build on preparing them for secondary school and the steps that they need to do, steps that they need to take to be independent and to work towards a successful career. We are really focusing on teamwork, about building and maintaining relationships across the year group, and about giving children responsibility. Already we've got monitors and house captains that we're working towards putting in place so that they can be role models for the rest of the school. But most of all, we need our children to have confidence and self-belief in order to be able to flourish in whatever their next steps are.
So this year, just to go over some of our big topics, so we've got some new topics we're going to be covering this year. Firstly, this term we're going to be looking at crime and punishment, which the children have already started to look at in lessons. We're also going to be looking at Victorian society. In geography, we're going to be looking at volcanoes and also doing some field work as well. We try and promote inquisitive learners, so asking questions and getting the children to lead the learning. We have our learning toolkit, which the children are familiar with empathy, open-mindedness, resilience, curiosity, independence, leadership, participation and risk-taking. And we also do lots of cross-curricular learning as well, so lots of subjects popping up in other subjects. Okay, so reflecting on our learning, so our aim is to develop learners, build their confidence, but also get them to become reflective learners. But also we obviously want to think about pre-pandemic, about how we can close the gap. So starting off, we have sort of softer assessments, and then that will sort of give us an idea in terms of where they're at. And as we go through the year, obviously assessments, as we build up towards SATs next year, will be obviously a little bit more formal heading into May next year.
So as Mr Ruck has explained, assessment is a key element to our Year 6 journey. It's something that kind of blends quite well with our learning. It's not something that we put a huge amount of pressure on, but something that drives us as the year goes on. The end of year assessments are our SATs tests, okay, and they are externally marked and moderated. That data is handed over to secondary school, and in order to prepare the children for that, there'll be lots of ongoing assessments and practice tests that we take on. In the preparation for the children entering our classes already, we've had in-depth handovers with previous teachers and specific meetings with Mrs Bull, our Senko, to ensure that we're able to provide the children the best provision from the day one. Our approach to learning is about progression. So it's about really giving them a skill, but then deepening it. So it's not always about going, here's your next step, here's your next step, here's your next step. It's about giving them a skill and then getting them to apply it into new contexts, into new situations. And already today in science, we've been looking at the circulatory system, but we've been really building on what they've learned in year 4 and 5 about the body previously. So it's about building and layering to make that learning sticky. Last year, we did lots of training on how to ensure that we were able to assess children as learners so that our understanding of their gaps were able to be filled so that we could meet their needs during what was a really tricky year last year in order to make them ready for their next steps. So SATs week next year is the 9th to the 12th of May. The SATs take place over 4 days. So on Monday, it's normally the grammar assessment. So that is 2 papers, one of them spelling and another one linked to the grammar and punctuation. On the Tuesday is normally our reading comprehension paper, so that's an hour long where they would have 3 texts that they would explore. There are 3 maths papers, 2 reasoning papers and an arithmetic paper that carried out on the Wednesday and the Thursday. And the writing is built up over the year, so already we're starting to look at the skills that we want the children to demonstrate and how to moderate those with other schools in Swindon in our area. There will be a meeting linked to SATs prior to SATS week, so that you've got a little bit more understanding about what your children will be facing on that week. But it's really subtly done, and it's about what that week looks like for the children to show their very best.
So homework. So the aim is to strike a balance between formal learning and inquiry and creativity. However, we do have high expectations, obviously being in year 6 now. There is always maths, spelling, and also reading weekly. So there will always be one of those tasks, and spellings, there will always be a new rule for that particular week. Homework projects termly, these are celebrated in class. So obviously there will be some ways in which different ways in which they could show off their learning for that particular term's topic. And then it's a case of them choosing whatever way they feel that they can show their learning best, and then we celebrate that in class, which is a lovely way to end the term. ICT Suite, year 6, we go in there on a Friday, and there'll also be a homework club in there every single Friday. Come the new year, when we're obviously starting to build up towards SATs, we will switch to revision in January.
So the homework is set every Friday, and the homework will consist of spellings, which will be written inside their reading records. These will be tested in school on a Monday. There will also be maths homework, which is given as TT Rockstars and Mathletics. The children should know that their passwords are kept in their reading records. If you need any extra guidance for those bits, then spellings and maths will be on the website for your information. The homework books need to stay at home, and their reading records come in every single day and are checked on a Thursday, just for signatures to see how many times a week the children are reading.
Okay, how can you help at home? So support with homework, not just helping with maths, but reading the questions can really help. So if you know that reading a question to your child helps them to understand it, that's a really, really good way to get them to understand their work. Use the calculation guidance on the website. So on the website, there are calculation policies which clearly set out how we work out different operations in year 6. So please go and have a look on there if you need any support with that. Times tables. So practice times tables as much as possible. They're really, really important because they feed into so many different units in our year 6 maths curriculum. Practice telling the time. If they have a watch or you're just at home, please start doing that. And obviously, we've already spoken about Mathletics and TT Rockstars. Helps your child to check their work through. This will help them to spot the mistakes. So get your child to read their work back through to you, so verbalise it. That will help them to begin to spot their mistakes and own their learning. And encourage your child, as I said, to verbally explain, because this will really help with the reasoning in maths, but also in writing to help them begin to become really good editors and spot if something makes sense or doesn't make sense.
So reading. Reading is something that is a real focus in school. Reading is something that we're really passionate on as a school, and that we hope to instill a love of reading in all of our children. But actually, for those children that don't particularly love reading or find it slightly trickier, it can become a really big barrier to their learning. We do expect the reading record and the book to be in school every day. Children can take the book to and from school, that's absolutely fine, but equally some children would prefer to read a separate book at home and at school. That is something for you to manage as a family. In year 6, it really is about building that stamina and speed. So it's about being able to decode and to read the words mechanically, but also to think about what the comprehension and the understanding of the text is. But most of all, we really want to build a love of reading with our children, because if you don't have enjoyment, the other things will become quite a lot harder.
Also, ensure your child reads every single night. Obviously, that's really, really important in year 6. Obviously, just reading is in every single subject, and it's really important that they get to have the opportunity to read every single day. Encourage them to read fiction and non-fiction, and also don't forget audiobooks. try to listen to your child read and ask them questions about the text. So questioning about what they're reading, about characters, about storyline will really help them to understand and really embed those reading skills that we do in school. Help them with the different reading skills, especially skimming, where they're obviously looking for keywords in a text, which is a really important skill in Year 6. Test knowledge of vocabulary. What does that word mean? And that will help them to expand their vocabulary, and hopefully then that will also translate in their writing and also speed reading. So again, having the opportunity to read an extract at speed, which will benefit them come the end of the year.
If your child is a reluctant reader as well, don't be afraid to expose them to texts by you reading to them and they read a paragraph and you read a paragraph, or read poetry, or explore something maybe on their tablet and read a text through that. So there's lots of different ways of really engaging children with reading at home. I know that at times that can be a bit of a battle, but we would like at least 5 opportunities to read at home during the week, but that doesn't just have to be independent. Okay, that could be listening to yourselves read, brothers or sisters read, grandparents as well. So get lots of people involved to really build that love of reading.
So PE for this term, PE kits for this term Monday and Thursday, all day, so they can come in on those days in their PE kit. Blue school t-shirts, if you have any problems with that, please let us know in advance, and obviously we can potentially help with that area. In terms of what not to wear, what should they be wearing in terms of accessories, no earrings, they're not part of the school uniform. Also hair tied up, just to avoid any accidents in PE. Swimming, there isn't any swimming at the moment, but we will keep you updated if that changes.
Just to say that the earrings, children can wear earrings to school, but they need to take them out for PE. If they can't take them out, they'll need to take them up. So it's just a health and safety element. So they can wear it as part of the uniform, but they must be covered or removed for PE lessons.
Okay, so the uniform this term already has looked amazing, and everybody's been so neat and tidy. They're showing real pride in wearing this. But we need to make some reminders of naming their coats now that the cooler weather is going to start happening, and making sure that they don't have any nail varnish or makeup on. This is part of our school policy. The water bottles that they bring into class have been needed this week, but will continue to be accepted to be brought in every day. Ensuring that breakfast is given, because our snacks and tuck shop
There is no tuck shop, so children need a snack at break time, but make sure they've got breakfast, because it's a long morning where we're really getting their brains used, so make sure they've got lots of energy for all their learning. Behaviour. Now, behaviour is always a biggie, but actually I can hand on heart say that our Year 6s have stepped into being Year 6 already. They are role models for the rest of the school. There is a behaviour policy, it's available on our school website, and we've already started to talk to our children about doing, using and owning their behaviour, and we've already got some real stars demonstrating their behaviour across the school in Year 6, which is brilliant to see. There is a consequence ladder, so if at the end of the behaviour policy it kind of dictates how we support children, and we really try to go down the positive route, but when things go wrong, how we can fix it and what we can move on with. There are whole school commitments that the children are aware of about how we present ourselves and what our behaviour culture looks like, because the rules and the expectations that we have in place here are hopefully building that pride in the tribe and allowing children to be successful as they grow into young adults and teenagers, and the next steps on their journey. So it's really about understanding how to conduct yourself, but how to support others too.
So e-safety, obviously it's a really, really important part, safety in school, but also with technology that children have these days, it's really, really important. So the internet is filtered, the borough block any inappropriate websites. So obviously when they're in the ICT suite, that is safe. We have a school internet safety policy, it's regularly updated, which is available on the website. Children in our school, they have regular lessons on e-safety and how to stay safe online. They're trained to tell an adult if they do see anything inappropriate. Are told never to share passwords. and are taught about the danger of sharing personal information online. These are all things that we obviously do throughout the year. It's not just doing it as a one-off. We are constantly dripping that in across different subjects during homework, so that obviously they really familiarise themselves with these really important points. And then obviously access to internet at home can be quite beneficial for the children in terms of homework and also further in their learning.
As our children get older, they inevitably end up with more access to different electronic devices. In school, we quite often see a bit of a spillover of those, so we really would ask parents to monitor what children are accessing at home to ensure that they're being kind, ultimately, but also keeping themselves safe. Because in the past we have had situations where children haven't always made the right choice, but to understand what they are doing will really help you as a parent to support them. In school, there is a no telephone policy whilst they are on the school premises. So as soon as the child enters the school gates in the morning, their phone must be away and out of sight. That's really important because it ensures that all of our children stay safe. So that's a real key one there. So as parents, we really ask you to support us in ensuring that our children stay safe online.
So just some dates for the diary. Parents' evenings this academic year will be in November and also in April. So again, just something to bear in mind. In terms of contact details, so if you have a query regarding a child, the first point of call is the class teacher. So again, all the emails, have the same format. They're all at rawtonfederation.co.uk, and it's just the name that begins with that just changes. So again, go to the class teacher first as your first point of call, and then if you obviously want to speak to somebody else, then obviously we have our phase leader, Mrs. McIntosh, and obviously on there as well we have our head's email as well, Mrs. Koch as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much for listening. Welcome to Year 6. Next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, there is an open classroom session. So our classrooms will be open from 3 o'clock till 3:30 to allow parents to drop in, have a look where their children are learning this year, see their setting, and the teacher may be available for a quick conversation just to say hello. If there is anything in particular that you would like to ask, then please contact your child's teacher. If you feel that it needs escalating, then contact myself as phase leader, and then once again we'll follow that escalation through if we need to. Do give us a shout if there's anything that we can help with, and we look forward to seeing you over the year. Thank you.